if I die tomorrow. I hope you hear these words. I ain't here to flip no birds or sip no serve. Hope the future generations can get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
It's Tuesday night fight night. Here's your boy Sebastian.
Who's fighting? Flex. Flex. Certainly not me. Certainly not me. It's your boy Law. But Tone is about to come, so we can't do all that right now.
You gotta
wait.
So comes in with the Stone Cold Steve Austin glass break. Here you go.
Is everyone coming in with the Stone? That's like, listen. You need more intros. You need more intros, sir. But how is everyone's weekend? What did everyone get up to? What did everyone get into?
Spider-Man and laundry. And I got a new washing machine on my other pod. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Listen, I feel like you've made adulthood when like stuff like getting a laundry machine, like a new washing machine, excites you.
Yeah.
Like getting new appliances now, I'm just like
so excited.
Yes. Like
I think
this new coffee maker. Oh my god, I love it.
I got the Ninja
air fryer. Like
oh yeah, when you went from being excited for toys to like appliances, not like, oh, I gotta get the new Ninja coffee maker, ice cream maker / combo air fryer.
I just got a little shelving system to better organize my downstairs of my like little desktop setup and clean up my desk a lot, and I'm loving it.
There you go.
Hey, what's going on? You go.
So for those who are counting, we are sorry that we were not on last week. Just took a little break. We took a break. We're back now.
A quick one.
With some great content. Yeah, we're all good. Sometimes you need that break because when you're going nonstop, it's just you need that break. But Tone's still not here. Should we do announcements?
I mean, we could do announcements without Tone.
So Vic. Yeah, he'll just come in announcements and just
we need Tone for spoilers.
Yeah, we need Tone for spoilers.
Tone has one very specific job that not many other people could do. Val has done them, but Val has very different spoiler warnings. And that's usually for our Game of Thrones, House of Dragon stuff.
Well, before we get into spoiler warnings, I got into bootleg Legos, so you can't see it right here, but yes, it's the Ecto 1 bootleg Legos. It's from Mold King, because everybody's doing Timo, and I decided, like, you know what? I want a free Lego set, so there we go. I got a free Ecto 1 to build on Pong Show, so.
How'd you get it for free? Is the question.
I just purchased a bunch of towels for my car and a duster for the car, and it was just like, oh, okay, this shit is cheap. Got everything for like $30, and then they're like, "Yeah, you could pick 2 free items." So I picked the bootleg Legos, and so I got a Batmobile and an Ecto 1.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I would ever to buy Legos on Temu, and it's not even Lego. It's what is it called? Wild what?
Hey, listen, I'm Legoing on a budget.
Wild what? What is it called?
I love that Val's just like, yo, give me the answers, fam. I didn't get into
no answer. Okay,
I didn't get into much of anything this weekend, other than Spider-Verse, doing my Twitch stream on Sunday. I've been playing lots of the Stanley Parable, which has been so much fun. And then I spent some time at my tattoo shop on Saturday after having some coffee with an old coworker. And I saw Spider-Verse at like 11 o'clock at night. I didn't get home till like 3:30 in the morning because MTA was just like not going your way. So cool.
That's it. That's their new slogan. And you want to know what else is a great slogan? But I was gonna say, because you're gaming, we could catch you gaming every time.
I am gaming. I'm doing on Sundays. I'm doing Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I think I'm gonna do one more Sunday stream of it, and then get into Superliminal the following Sunday. Actually, that's a lie. This Sunday, and then the next 2 Sundays I'm free because I'll be traveling. But yeah, so we're doing Stanley Parable and then Superliminal, and then for Thursdays we're still trying to figure out how to get to the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought I only had like a few chapters left, and then Hugo was like, "Yo, bro, you got like 6 chapters left." I was like, "Yo, what? Oh,
you're not done yet."
So you know when you're like anticipating, like, all right, this should be the ending. Like I'm starting to get like whatever, and then it's just like, nah. I'm like, Yeah, I'm
I think I'm
gonna end.
still in the beginning. I just got to with the ex-girlfriend and the little girl was leading me down into the basement
Okay.
and
Oh,
yeah,
you early
I'm
on.
I'm super early
So I
on.
think I'm on.
Hogwarts took over and then I
I
never went
think
back to it
I
till
think I
recently.
went to like chapter 14. It's really good. Like I
Um,
genuinely enjoy it, and I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
I'm on chapter 0. Val, what's going on in TV land?
So catch us every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Last week we had a great discussion about dating with intent, the road rules of dating, and things of that nature. So if you didn't watch, you can definitely go back and watch. It's also streaming on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon, I believe. Whatever the podcast thing is, I'm not entirely sure on that one, but yeah, the other ones are. Um, don't have a topic for this week yet. We'll figure that out this tomorrow. So
I mean,
tune in and
It's
watch.
still early in the week though. Like
Yeah,
I feel like not
Tuesday.
having a topic Tuesday for something on Saturday. Yeah, you're
we
right.
got time. Yeah, we got time.
Also, guys, check out Concrete Combat. Just to give you an update, the inks that the pencils are done for Chapter 2, Part 3. It's going to be the longest section of Chapter 2. It's going to be exclusively out on Patreon at Bonet Studios. Make sure you guys are there. You can also go to my website, sebastianbonet.com, to read a free preview. Also, too, it is out in the Wayward Raven Kickstarter that was fully funded. We Suck at Comics. It's out in print already. So definitely chapter 1 is out there. Also, too, make sure you guys are tuning into the Medusa's Cascade podcast, the podcast that keeps giving you craziness.
Yo,
Craziness, the D&D podcast that is nuts.
so Tommy's been doing a thing where he's like doing little bits of lore for the NPCs of the world, which I think is really dope because it like gives a little bit more context to like the other like characters that we interact with, but we don't really get to like hear from after like we move on from like that part of the story. We don't get to like really hear or know what they're up to, but they're still doing stuff in the world. So the last like I think last episode was with Torbera, who was one of the cool like blacksmith like characters that we ran into, and that episode was just like, oh, this is super Tommy. Want to run that by us again? So it's definitely been really cool. We got more of the actual play coming out. We got more of potentially some across the plains world building stuff. So be sure to be on the lookout for it.
And where is Kyver? Kyver in all the midst of this.
Kyver is over there like getting into fights with my father, apparently.
Listen. I hope to become an only child. And with that,
my parents told me when I saw them again that they had no intention of having other children. I've been gone, missing for 30 years in game. Why would they now have a kid when they see me again? Foolish person.
Also, it was great too because this weekend I got to see Lou Cyph. We were hanging
Hello,
out.
Tone!
Hey,
Some
No
bullshit.
idea
You
what's
walked into
going
Lou
on.
Cyph's motive.
Hey, Tone.
Hey, what's up? Sorry about that. I was dealing with Netflix account issues.
Ooh,
Oh.
Netflix. You got hit with the Netflix bomb.
So wait.
You didn't have to hear that story.
Wait. Like, how is it working right now? Because you're in the same house.
Okay, so it's fine in the same house. It's that we still pay for it, but originally we paid for Jackie's grandmother and we used her account, and that was working for a long time because she uses our other stuff. And then Netflix did its thing, and then we were watching Netflix, and then you get hit with the thing, hey, this is not your household. We need to make sure that you're on a household. And then we ignored it, and I think someone did it in Florida, so we got booted out. So then I had to do the whole thing. Public service announcement: if it happens to you, when you transfer your profile, you need to create your new account when you transfer your profile. You do not create a new account and then transfer the profile, because then it will not work.
That has been your public service announcement.
My sister had to do it because I think Larice and Ty share it, and Ty was like, "Yeah, they kicked her out of the living room, but her bedroom still worked." It was really weird.
Oh no! The house should be fine because it's based off Wi-Fi.
You know what else I got to share stuff with Lou Cyph this weekend? We shared Wings, and make sure you guys are listening to The Motive, which is Lou Cyph's new album. The link is in the description. The Motive is out now. Also, too, we want to give Lou Cyph some shout out because he's going to be at the Delancey Live July 15th at 9 p.m. Make sure you guys are there. If you missed it the last time, you want to be there for the second show. He's ready to give you guys a new show. He said this in person. He was like, I got to shake off the cobwebs and I'm ready to go. So we are there for you, Lou. Make sure you guys are checking out Cash the Craze. We love those bros. They're over there covering the indies like they do. Sam and George are doing their thing. Make sure you're catching Pong every Monday and Fridays at the Sin Shop. I may go on there to build these bootleg Legos. So
I may go there IRL when I go to Vegas.
Well, that'll be dope. And then finally, catch our brothers over there, the 4-Letter Nerd. They're on every Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Mike, Bergie, and his crew, they're all there giving it up, giving it shout outs, talking geeks. So make sure you guys are chilling, talking with them and everything. Guys, how did I do for the announcements this week?
11 minutes.
Oh, man.
It's a lot of announcements. But I will say it was a lot of me.
Hey, George.
George, what's going on, brother?
What is up? What is up?
Just gave you the shout out, George.
But we have someone in the back who's been patiently waiting his turn to come out and talk nerdy and talk about his vampires in space, unicorn vampire. Like, there's a lot of vampires. There's a lot of author like lore and legends and mythology. I love it. I'm here for it. So let's give a hand and welcome out Caleb.
Caleb, wait, it's not.
I got it. I did it.
Oh, okay.
I was doing the
Damn,
thing.
I thought you were gonna do the intro. I was gonna press it. See, there you go. Technical difficulties on the live. Caleb, what's up?
Hello, hi.
Welcome.
Hey, what's going on,
Thank
Caleb?
you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. So Caleb, one of your books is again, what we have here was the zombie unicorn vampire hunter. So talk to us, how did you come up with this concept of vampire hunter unicorn?
I don't know, 10 years ago, I was I was dating a girl 10 years ago who had green eyes, and I told her that her eyes were beautiful like a marsh, and she was insulted and said that marshes aren't beautiful. And so kind of to spite her, I wrote a short story about a beautiful marsh where a wizard lived with his niece, and then somehow unicorns came into it, and then the unicorn killed the vampire. Anyway, I broke up with that girl a long time ago, but
she's not your Delilah.
I love that it was done out of
The green
spite.
eyes in the marsh. What the heck?
It's the penny for me. It's the penny. I love it. I'm here for it.
yeah. So but yeah, it's a unicorn has got a stake right on his head. So
Makes sense.
So it's revenge fantasy authorship. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. And then it kind of all spiraled out from there.
Was that your first ever thing that you wrote in terms of starting to do comics and whatnot, or was this the first batch of the new little franchise that you have going on here with everything?
Well, maybe. I mean, I wrote it way before I started doing comics, and then I did a few comics, 6 or 7 years ago that had nothing to do with that, and they didn't do very well. And you've probably never heard of them. And then I was like, I had this old idea. I give it a try, and it worked out. People liked it, and so I just kept making it.
Nice.
No, a lot of your comics are definitely up our alley. So again, Unicorn Vampire Hunter, The Dragon Kettle, Swords of Arthur, Space Monkey Knights Go, Vampire Detective in Space, and Modern Mythology. I mean, these, and then the artwork is just very fantastic on a lot of these books and all that. For those who don't know, Caleb's websites links are in the description, so make sure you are favoring that website. Go right back for stuff. But yeah, man, I mean. So give us the four before we deep dive into Spider-Verse. Give us your 411, your origin story so people can know who you are and how did you get into the world of comics aside from the Vampire Hunter Unicorn story.
Sure. Well, my name's Caleb, and I've just been writing for a long time. When I was a kid, I wanted to get into making movies, and then I went to film school and realized that the film industry is a mess. I don't know. Are we allowed to curse on the show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go fucking for it.
Okay. Yeah. The film industry is like a big clusterfuck, and there's a book that just came out called Burn It Down, which I would totally recommend, and it's like a retrospective on the last 10 years about like really a lot of the abuse and bullshit that people in all sectors of the film industry go through. Anyway, point is, I wanted to make movies, and I realized that I didn't want my life to suck, and so I then became a teacher, and I clearly was not making the right life decisions. Anyway, I just kept writing stories, and I've always really liked comics, and I realized that I movies wasn't going to be the thing for me, but comics made a lot of sense to make, and I'd always read a lot of comics, and so one day, I don't know, 7 years ago, I was like, what the hell am I waiting for? And I started making stuff. And that brought me to here. But I would say comic book origin, outside of the big two, Brian K. Vaughan is like probably the number one influence for me. But
I can see that.
Thank you. That's flattering. But since we're going to talk about Spider-Man, I want to say that number one, when I was just coming out of college, I actually had money, right? And I was starting to buy comics a lot. Like, because when I was a kid, you would like buy a comic here and there, but can't have a pull list when you're 12. Well, unless you're like rich. So coming out of college, I had money, and right around that time was when Superior Spider-Man came out, and that's my shit. Superior, like Otto is I might get some hate, but Otto is my favorite Spider-Man. So
it was.
If I took time to read it, it was very good. It was better than I thought it would be.
So I haven't read it, but from what I heard about it, it was a really, really good run. And just that, like, him realizing, oh shit, he's been holding back on us. Like, he could literally kill us with a punch. Like that realization of just like, oh shit.
I think that was a great run. Yeah, because like how to continue from that, it gave him new respect for Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Plus, it really allowed to get to flesh out Otto as a character. Because it's like, okay, now you're putting him in this different situation. How is he going to react? And it's like, for me, that whole storyline was him trying to live up to the mantra of Spider-Man, but in his own way. But the funniest scene that has to be is when Felicia Hardy goes to see, it's like, oh, what's up, Tiger? And then he punches her in the face. So they have the relationship. I'm like, wow, that's messed up. Felicia Hardy.
I don't remember that, but you probably remember it better than I do. I just remember him being so much smarter, so much more calculating, and him learning to be a better person while trying to keep up this facade. And the character, that whole writing, it was done so well because I pictured and imagined. I didn't see Peter, even though it was Peter kind of thing. Like I could tell Otto's personality through it, and I think it was written very well.
Did you guys see the announcement that Dan Slott's coming back with another Superior Spider-Man series?
Really? No.
Yeah, they just announced it. I don't know anything about it other than that the title is coming back, so I don't know how or what is going to be, but I'm excited.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's Dan Slott. What's his face? Who created Miles Morales? I don't know.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, because I kept thinking of the other Brian Michael Bendis. They did a lot for, I feel like, Marvel in those runs with a lot of the stuff that they put out there, especially with Bendis with just everything he touched.
Bendis
was just
put in work.
it did influence and help influence not just some of the stuff we're seeing in the movies, but just like how we're seeing the characters progress and like everything he's done. This was stuff I was saying years, like what they should have done with the characters. It's like we need to see some form of progression. You can't keep recycling the same stuff over and over again. And I feel like with the introduction for Miles was a great way to move Peter Parker away from high school, because now you have this new character to really deal with the whole high school, seeing what it is now, versus Peter Parker, who like I felt should have gone to this adulthood where we see him go like maybe through fatherhood and everything. But we'll get into that in a second because we got the Spider-Verse coming up. But no, Caleb, for those again, make sure you're favoriting Caleb's links. We're looking at his store. He has his online store there where you can get some great stuff from PDF. You could get some great stuff in print. Some beautiful artwork there, beautiful stories. Again,
the
unicorn
art
told
and
me
the titles alone that I'm seeing on the website. Like when you said Brian came on, I was like, that tracks, because like it gives very much Paper Girls and Saga vibes. I'm just like, I haven't read anything yet. I read a little bit of something. I'm like, I'm here for it. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying the unicorn story, and the space monkeys. I'm interested in it. The little snippet you gave us. I don't think is enough.
So did
the
you
King Arthur space monkeys? That was genius.
did you ever watch that show? Was it Super Space Monkeys Hyperforce Go? I think that's
Yeah, my letterer Dave and I came up with the Space Monkey Nights Go Together, and we hadn't heard of that show until we were deep into production, and then we were like, God damn it, fuck. And then but we were like, we're just doing it. We're just gonna keep going.
That's funny.
So I did end up watching that show, and it's pretty goofy, but yeah, this is hopefully our thing is serving more like 90s cartoon than mid 2000s cartoon. And yeah.
Who was this Agent M, the monkey from Dexter's Lab?
Yeah.
Just yeah, I think
Monker.
so, or just M.
M.
Yeah.
Monker.
Yeah.
I think he gave a lot of that old 90s Cartoon Network vibes.
Well, the whole concept of Space Monkey Nights Go, we wanted the origin story to be like very much like a Saturday morning cartoon, like really quick, silly explanation. So the whole thing is that they're monkeys in a spaceship that are going to explore the universe, and they're supposed to have all of humankind's knowledge hooked up to their sleeping pods, but the robot in charge of that only hooks up the King Arthur information to the monkey's pods.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get.
You're not the illustrator, but who are the illustrators you've been working with? Give us some info on those.
Sure. Unicorn Vampire Hunter is drawn by Daryl Toe, who is a really talented artist. He's worked on Is Nana the Were Spider and some other cool stuff. And then let's see, Space Monkey Nights Go is drawn by a guy named Nick Torres, who I've worked with before, who's very talented. And then Vampire Detective in Space, which I don't have a campaign for now, but had one earlier this year. That's drawn by a guy named Dave Swartz, who is awesome. And let's see. Those are the main ones that I've been working with right now. Well, I've got a book, another King Arthur book that I kickstarted earlier this year, drawn by a woman named Kay Woolheiser, who is awesome. And then all my books are lettered by Dave Lentz, who, if you haven't heard of Dave Lentz's name, get used to hearing it. He's lettering like everything in the indie scene right now.
Oh, nice.
He's a really cool guy. He does a lot of Source Point Presses books.
Oh, Source Point. Well, those guys. Those guys are phenomenal over there. They did the book for. Well, they got to release my buddy Stan's book over there. So I've seen them at plenty of cons over there.
Oh yeah.
Very nice.
I love it. I want to show, but it's not popping up. But oh well.
Looks a lot like Boots from Tora. That's great.
That's pretty good.
But no, I mean, again, guys, this is definitely a comic you guys definitely want to get. These are the comics that you definitely want to subscribe to, because as you can see at Nerds, we always have some of the greatest indies creators coming on here celebrating their stuff. Definitely, if you need something out of the big two, definitely check out Caleb's website. It's in the description. You want to follow him. You want to give the like, the subscribes. You want to definitely follow with the books. He has a new Kickstarter starting next week. We will get the link out to you guys next week on our description on the show. So best way for his new comic. What's the new comic coming out next week with the Kickstarter, Caleb?
June 13th, which I think is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yep.
Exactly 1 week.
Kickstarter.
Let's get
Nice.
that funded. And we know what we want to get funded.
So,
So
I'm sorry, I'm known for
Caleb,
bad segues.
he's
Oh my
terrible at
God.
segues and
Yeah,
transitions.
he's terrible.
So
He's
like,
terrible.
we're apologizing in advance for
Oh
what
no,
we're
don't
about to, like,
apologize. It's
Yes.
it's my thing, and I wear it with pride.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. No one asked you to.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I'm doing a spoiler warning for.
There's no way you didn't know you were doing a spoiler warning, sir.
All right. So tonight we're discussing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We're going the ins and the outs, the oohs and the ahs, the holy shits, the what the fucks. I can't believe that just happened. All these Spider-Men, Spider T-Rexes, Spider Cats are on the street. Spider Car are on the screen. However, spoilers will be warned. Spoilers will be had. Miles the Spider is not from his universe. It is from Universe 42. A Miles who is now the Prowler. And, little tidbit, we got an Easter egg of Donald Glover as the Prowler. Hopefully, we will see him eventually play some character in Miles Morales' life in the MCU, because
Well,
that's what
he's
we need.
supposed to be.
He is the uncle. He is the uncle.
He is Aaron.
He's the
So
uncle.
He is the uncle. So that is the spoiler warning
That's
for
a beautiful.
the Spider-Verse movie.
it's been a while, man.
I
And
know.
listen, listen. You know I'm coming in here like super excited. Oh,
I was
such a good
actually
movie.
I'm gonna say this. I was actually waiting for Tone to say all the captains die in each universe, because of every spoiler one has been like what was it? Tony Stark
Well,
dies.
it's Captain.
Aunt
It's
May
Captain
dies.
or Uncle Ben. It's either a Captain
Uncle
or
Ben.
an Uncle Ben.
Yep.
Fuck that shit.
So before we jump in, everyone knew that we were gonna get a cliffhanger, because apparently online a
Yeah.
lot of people did not know that there was a third movie.
Yeah, no.
So
I
they
knew, but I
announced-
forgot.
I know they did.
And
They
announced them
announced
back to
the
back.
movies back. They announced both movies together.
Mhm.
what,
Caleb, did you?
what I will say, I knew that there was going to be another movie. I didn't know it was just going to be like a two-parter. Like, I thought it was going to be like like a whole story, and then we were going to get a sequel. Like, but this was just like in the middle of a
Cliffhanger.
4-hour movie. Like, this is the end of it. Then we're like, okay,
Yeah,
I guess
I'm like 2 hours in. I'm like, okay, I know this movie's only 2 hours. I know there's a sequel.
Yep.
This bad boy's ending. We're gonna get a fucking cliffhanger. And then they were doing the scene with. I know, we're gonna start at the beginning, but they were doing the scene when he's tied up in the gym bag. I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna do it here. 'Cause that's where this makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I love they
I
said
did
we're gonna
not
start
know
from the
when.
beginning, because as many times as we heard this throughout both movies. All right, let's run that back. Let's start from the beginning.
She said, we'll do this a different way this time.
Yo, like I
Yeah.
fucking. All right.
I think it's a great form of storytelling, because in a way we got that with Avengers at in Infinity War, when the cliffhanger it ended on. We knew we were getting that in 2 parts, and I feel that it does work with Spider-Verse
Yeah.
with the way it ended, because it's like, where do you go from there, and how do you end this movie? Because he still has to fight the Spot, and then you're like, there's not going to be enough time to fight the Spot, and I kind of like that again. It left more questions for me too, because there was a question I have to ask that actually leads to Miguel O'Hara,
Mhm.
which I will save for a little bit later, because I want to ask people about this, because it there's just some theories I have, unless you want me to go on to that now.
No, well, don't go back. Can we go from beginning through?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And
I will
arcs,
say,
arcs, remember.
I will say from
Arcs, yeah.
the beginning.
Right.
I love that this was a continuation and not an entirely new story. Like it was its own story where, like they had separate timelines and things that were going on, but it felt like a true part 2 or sequel movie.
An actual
what I mean?
growth in the characters.
There was growth in the characters. There were consequences to the characters. You see a lot more
They tie a
fuller
lot
of a,
back to
oh
the
my
first
God.
movie.
Like,
It's,
yeah.
and it's not like we're just gonna nod this. Everything in the first movie has real like tangible consequence or effect to the next movie, which I think is so important for a movie that has so many, multiverse kind of like things going on where everything is connected and everything needs to be tied together.
Yeah, and I know people are watching the first Spider-Verse and they're just catching all the, like, you catch the bagel scene, you catch the I completely missed it. You see the 42 spider shift because it's off in the dimension, like there, and like you think it's just like a design, because when it first happens you think it's just kind of like the movie design because of how the movie was filmed and making it look like a comic book, but it was just like, oh no, this is all purposeful, all the clues were there.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where in the first one with Miguel O'Hara and talking about that spider being from a different dimension.
Yeah.
So I mean, I knew from the first movie. It was something that
But
it made sense, and a lot of people were surprised this go around.
I think
I don't know if I
over,
remember
I think
that
it flew over a
'cause
lot of people's heads.
I haven't seen the first one in so long,
Oh,
and I don't remember
watched
like
it several times.
So I remember I watched it several times too, but it's been like at least
5 years,
2 years since I've watched it.
Yeah.
Whenever they took it off Netflix, because when it was on Netflix, I used to watch it religiously, like at least once or twice a week, like no lie. But I will say that the that ending with Miguel, the biggest thing with Miguel was just getting Miguel. I've completely like this when he talked. Like I was like, oh cool,
Yeah,
Miguel's here.
all it was that we got Miguel and he was like, hey, join me, and everyone was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Right.
It's just that we're getting Spider-Man 2099, and that was like the big, like, holy crap. And they're doing the meme. Like,
Caleb, jump in. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think it wasn't necessarily clear at the end of the first movie that it mattered that the spider was from a different universe, right? Like, it's only in this movie that we found out that like he's the only one, right, who got bit by a spider from a different universe, and that like the fact that even matters is like context. But it's like, I think one of the cool things about this movie is there's so many little bits of like lore and universe building. Like they dumped a ton of exposition, but it didn't feel like overwhelming. It was like by the end of the movie you're like, yeah, of course it's the spider from a different universe, and that's why that's why he's an anomaly, and that's why people are after him, and everything just makes sense, and I'm not questioning anything, even though they dumped like 3 novels worth of like lore on me in this movie.
100%. Yep.
Do you know what I didn't know? I did, because I hadn't followed Gwen's story in the comic books. I didn't know her Peter ended up being Lizard. So I was actually surprised by that, and I'm like, I didn't know that, and and I don't recall them saying that in the first movie. So that was interesting to see some of that background.
Honestly,
yeah,
Gwen,
they don't say it. Like you see,
I think I knew that because I just watched like a history of.
Yeah, but you see it when she's doing her comic book retrospective that everyone does. When she's next to his body, he has the scales. But again, you don't think the Lizard. You just think of Sony's animation of doing the dots, making it look like a comic book page. But it is he does have the leftover scales from his transformation in that background.
I mean, it's sort of go ahead.
No, go ahead, Caleb.
It's like a reversal. I mean, originally in the comic book, it's like a reversal because like Peter is in love with Gwen, and then he can't save Gwen, right? It's just like the exact reversal of that.
I think this movie makes you fall in with Gwen's character a lot more, because in the comics, there's a reason why Gwen's Spider-Man, Spider-Woman became very popular. And like in the retrospect, I mean, I remember Marvel was doing that whole
her outfit is just cool.
No, her outfit's cool.
Every little girl loves Spider-Gwen. All you got to see is what she looks like. I'm buying that comic book, right? I mean,
there was a whole month that they were doing like, oh, we have Gwenpool, we have Gwen this, Gwen that. She stuck out from all of that. And when it comes down to it, her story, her attitude, the way how they've utilized her character, and even with this movie, I was talking with George, it's like, yo, I just love the character. She is a phenomenal character with a very tangible origin that makes her stand out amongst any of the characters, the new characters that they created. Which again, and plus she's voiced by Haley Stanfield, who did Steinfeld. Who is also Kate Bishop.
Hawkeye, yeah. Also, I would like to point out that to your point about her having like a dope story, that's I think the best like part of this whole Spider-Verse like thing writing wise is you're making all of these like Spider-Man who either are Peter Parker or need to have some element of Peter Parker's story, but how do you differentiate them without making it feel like an oversaturated mess where you're just like, I don't care about any of them.
Right.
And this did like such a good job of like having us, the audience, be like, I genuinely care about like all these different stories and how all these things are interwoven and why everyone's story is unique to them, but also connected to everyone else's.
Well, I think something that is like a little hat trick in this movie and the previous movie is that almost none of the main characters are named Peter Parker. They're all like, you know, you got Miguel and you've got Miles and Gwen and Ben Reilly and Penny and but then there's like you know, I guess Peter Porker is
Peter B.
his name
Parker.
Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
But I think the only like real besides like little side characters is named Peter Parker is Chris Pine's character who dies right at the beginning of the first movie. Right? So because they could have done this with like 7 different people named Peter Parker and then it would have been really like confusing.
Right. They do well with changing it up and giving us different people because a bunch of people in the comic books have donned the Spider name. I was really excited to see Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and seeing the twist with Issa Rae. I thought they did that very well. I'm excited to see her with the baby, and hopefully we get to see that in the next movie. I thought her whole art style, I freaking loved her on the bike. I thought that was, I'm like, I want her toy.
Yeah.
It's freaking awesome. All pregnant and all. I want it.
I thought that was pretty good. That was like a good send up of the comic. Marvel got so much shit when Jessica Drew was pregnant, and they're like, "Fuck it, we're doing it again." I thought that was great.
I listen. I'm happy they stuck with their guns with it because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, like I always like the fact that what the superheroes do when it became down to when it was a family, because obviously like you had Luke Cage who became the family man. He became a father with what's her face? She used
Jessica
to be a spirit,
Jones.
Jessica Jones. And then there was another character, like you said, it was her. But then they did a whole run where it was called MC2, where Spider-Man had Mayday, and she grew up taking over the mantle of Spider-Woman, and he was like an older Spider-Man. And you had like legacy characters that were taking over, like that like Juggernaut's son took his role, J2. I mean, name needed work, but he was J2. You had Wolverine's daughter, Wild Thing, and I think that was a great run of comics at the time, but again, it didn't continue. But I think what you see with this is that you're seeing also to a nod to Stan Lee's cameo from the last movie when he says, you know, everyone could wear the mask. You're starting to see that also too in this movie.
I think, did anyone play the Miles Morales PS4 game?
Yeah.
At all?
I finished it.
So I think both the game and the movie does a really good job of like letting Miles, or just letting characters in general, age. So like in this, we see Miles, it's been a couple months to a year or something like that.
Yeah, because he was a freshman at the school, and now he's a sophomore.
It's been like 10 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And like you can see like he's doing I grew into like, you know, a growth spurt, I did this, and I'm going through all the like, you know, the highs and lows of school and trying to do this balancing act and whatnot. And like I appreciate that they kept a lot of the like bits of what like makes a teenager who just happens to be a superhero, like kept that bit in, but also kept true to like Miles's version of it, because the way we see like Pete and Aunt May versus how we see Miles and his mom and dad are two completely different like coming of age like stories.
I love that they like between Miles and his mom, bendición, yo te bendiga. I'm like, oh my God,
Puerto Rican heart.
Such a Puerto Rican thing that just went off on me. I was like, oh my God, such a Spanish thing right there.
I mean, the whole thing was super Spanish too, and they were like, yo, they're using our first name. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That bit with they didn't like his roommate because he uses their first name, and then when he's
yeah,
introducing to Gwen and she goes and they're like, huh. That's what we're doing.
That's what
Yep,
we're
it's
doing.
happening.
uh,
Like you can see the generational thing. It was like, ooh, why would they say
It
that?
is
And
a
it was really
generational.
funny.
It's
Like, oh,
it's
y'all bold.
like you got to give permission to say first name. You got to start with
Right.
Mr. and Mrs. Morales,
Yo.
and then it'd be like, no, you can call me this.
Did you guys?
I've been ingrained to just not even call my friends like parents anything but mom and dad. Like I literally be like, hey mom, hey dad. Like that's it.
Yeah. And I say bendición. I do that all the time.
La bendición, no te
Yeah.
bendiga. That was it. That was and that completely like sold me on their whole relationship because I'm like, damn, I remember saying that to my aunts, my uncles, mom, dad, abuela,
It's
still do.
again, it's very
abuelito.
much a generational like thing of like
Yeah.
you see these kids? That's how they are
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
guys see? I have a question about Miguel real quick because when they introduce him and he's watching everything, he injects himself with something and then you see the eyes like do this thing that
Yes.
was very Morbius like. And
No.
since when is Miguel 29 Spider-Man 2099 a vampire?
It's
So
a spider,
it's not
right?
so
It's
much
a spider, right?
yeah, so he um of course I watched the was it variant comics like history of his origin, like how he became Spider-Man gave him like slightly different like powers than everyone else, and as a
Oh.
result like different effects than everyone else. So like instead of having just like your hands and feet and body can like stick to walls, his bottom of his like feet have like little like talon or whatever the case is on his feet, and then you see his hands grow out like claws like talons. But that transformation bit, I think he's trying to like
Very Morbius.
I mean,
sure.
I wouldn't put it past
I mean,
because
that's what.
this
Okay.
is the
I
thing.
would say
It was
knowing
Marvel's 2099 age because every character had to. So 2099 came out in the 90s, and everything from Marvel in the 90s or in comics in general, and Caleb, back me up in this, had to be extreme. It had to be extreme.
The 2099 stuff is all even though it's called 2099, it's very 90s, and everything is like that's like even his character is like an homage to that in the movie. He's got these like elbow things that like the like elbow
Extra
blades
long
that go
knives.
out like 3 feet or whatever, ridiculous, like over the top character. And to be honest, 2099 Spider-Man sucks. He's so lame, but they made him cool in this movie, which was like a hat trick. It's like I never liked him. I was like trying to get into
I
it
think
like for a while, but
It was that
Oscar
whole.
Isaac kills it, man. He
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
commits. He commits to whatever. Even it was great. Like
was-
you just want to listen to him give his exposition dump. I just want to listen to Oscar Isaac just tell me everything.
Just Oscar Isaac.
Oh
ASMR.
no,
Just talking to
Pong
you.
is here.
It's
It's
Morbid
Morbid time. What's up, Pong? The more 1990s than the 2000s.
Bro,
Absolutely.
2009. So 2099, we had the Punisher, we had Doctor Doom, we had the X-Men, and everything
Oh, yeah.
like was just supposed to be extreme. 2099, the dark future. It was nuts. Then they were like, oh, we need to add Hulk, we need to add Ghost Rider. Hulk looked more like he was from the Aliens franchise. Ghost Rider was like a cyborg with a flaming head and a chainsaw. Like the 2099 lineup was just nothing but craziness. Doctor Doom ends up becoming president.
I'll send you guys a link for it because like variant comics like did the history of, and I saw some of like the designs for it, and I was just like, that was a thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they really went for it. Like
Yeah.
the way we get like where Gwen's lizard is Peter, they kind of were like, cool, we're gonna take that and just like make it crazier than like that.
I will say that
Technically speaking, the 2099 is the 90s, just not the ones you think of.
Go,
Fair
Caleb.
point.
I was I was born in 91, and so I didn't really start reading comics until until the 2000s. And honestly, I'm glad because the 90s honestly was not it for superhero
No,
comics,
90s,
in my
90s,
opinion.
90s,
Like,
90s was a 90s was a dark period. It was not a fun to be a
I
comic book
read the
fan.
X-Men comics and it was great. I don't care what
That
anybody
was
says.
the only
Because
comic fine.
Onslaught was lit. I mean, all of that happened in
Hey,
the
For a
90s.
long
There's a
time,
lot
over here,
going on.
Dave, you're not wrong.
that was the X-Men. The X-Men was the only thing holding on Marvel at the
The
time.
X-Men
If
is
you
what
saw-
kept Marvel afloat.
Yeah, if
Listen.
you
True.
saw the stuff that's when they came out
Puts
with
him
the
on their
outfit
back.
for Sue Storm, the Storm, the what was it, Stu Richards, when she had the whole like boob window with the 4 right here and everything. It was like, dude, that's how you're gonna do Sue Storm, like Sue Richards. That's messed up. Then you had was it they were like, oh, we're gonna kill off Iron Man and bring him out as a team because Iron Man was a Kang operative this whole time, but we're gonna bring a team to take his place because we want team Iron Man. They did so much stuff in the 90s that was just so bad. Like the comic book industry almost, if it wasn't for the
So I'm
X-Men,
grateful that I read just X-Men at the time.
Fair.
And
It
some
was-
Spider-Man at the time.
and Rob Liefeld with his pouches.
Going back to Spider-Man.
Hold on.
I said Sue.
Right.
I said
No, you
Sue.
didn't. No, you didn't.
We
I
all
said it in
heard
my
it.
head.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will say another reason why I love this story is because like I love a good like morally gray character. Like I love Luther, whatever the case is. Another good story like trope kind of thing I love is making your hero be like vilified for making the right choices. And I
Right.
think like they did such a good job of showing Miles as a character who just wants to do good, like wants to do right, and has everything in his life up until that point telling him like what right and wrong is. He has like a very, very good moral compass, but then for everyone to just go, no, either don't do it because that you like what you feel like is good ends up being even worse than what you could possibly imagine, or you're just wrong.
Mhm.
Like, and it's I don't like it being like the dilemma of like the one versus the many, because it's more than that. It's literally like are you still a good person because you chose to do the good thing, the morally right thing, even though it might end up being like the worst most cataclysmic version possible of like a result.
I had a lot. So I want to ask everybody this, and I want to jump in on it. So the whole thing, because again, it leads into that Miles is it's going to do the right thing because that's what he feels he needs to do. The whole canon event thing, I have questions about because I feel that Miguel knows more than what he is letting on. Because I was just thinking about like if the canon event was a real thing that was supposed to happen, how come the universe where that Spider-Man wasn't bitten didn't dissolve? How come
Wouldn't
only
Gwen be considered an anomaly then?
yeah,
Wouldn't
and that's what
Jesse
that's
Drew
yeah,
be
it,
considered an
not
anomaly
No,
then?
no,
necessarily.
it's
no,
not
I don't
necessary.
think.
It's
Yeah, I don't think those
it's
spider
so-
folks are the anomalies. I think it's like
I
what
I think
He
because
said
also
Miles
too.
was an
But wait,
anomaly.
So Miles
wait,
is a-
Miles-
before
okay,
I
go ahead,
got more on
Seabass,
this.
go ahead,
Sorry.
Seabass, go.
Because it's like
Go,
this.
go.
It's like it goes like this because I started thinking about it more because they're like, wait, you had to prevent from in Spider-Man India's world from the captain from dying, that they had to stop him, but it's like he wouldn't
Defenders.
have been there. Yeah, but it's like these events wouldn't have happened to lead to that captain's death. So it's like, what's going on? So that's why I feel like Miguel knows more. And that's why I want to get everyone's understanding. And I feel like Miguel has become more of the king
don't-
or all who know
I don't
or
think he
who
knows.
remains.
Yeah, he's very
I'll
similar
also
to
say-
the sacred timeline kind of thing.
I'll also say that the reason why the Miles from Universe 42 and that world didn't collapse is because technically the event, the canon event, is a Miles or someone like getting bit. So that Miles should have been bitten. Let's just say, right?
Hmm.
there was still a Miles that got bit. It doesn't matter where or when it got bit. So that spider did what it was supposed to do. It just wasn't the where and the when it was supposed to happen. So technically,
I have
it's
a
still go for it.
I have a comment. So I in the Prowler Miles and Earth 42, I'm past that in regards to the canon event. It's because the captain died. His father died.
Mhm.
Like that was
Right.
that's the pivotal moment that makes Spider-Man become Spider-Man, losing whoever's close to you or whatever.
Mhm.
So like he still died, and they're just that
Instead,
universe
he's
is just,
bad.
that he's just bad. The influence that he was supposed to have came from his uncle and not from becoming Spider-Man and getting that power, because his father still died, and instead of the grief of losing his father drove him to his uncle, which drove him to what he's becoming to do, not taking that grief and turning it into positivity. Where our Miles got the new Spider-Man, Chris Pine died, and that was the anomaly, because that Miles was never supposed to be Spider-Man. He was the wrong place, wrong time situation, and then that Earth Spider-Man died, and then it started this whole cascading effect. To your point, Seabass, I think Spider-Man India, the captain was going to die no matter what. It was just a different set of circumstances. It's not like maybe not the spot, but something else was probably going to happen to him.
I think that what I think is kind of funny about that whole thing of like, oh, they're watching out for the canon event of the captain dying, is like anytime any of these Spider-Men see a captain in danger, they're like, we fucking stay away from this shit. Like we're gonna save this guy. Like push that guy in front of a bus just to make sure like this.
You gotta get your loss.
Is it one of those things? Because I want to know is it that Miles is now like the newest Spider-Man, right? Out of the entire like string of events and whatever, he's literally like the newest person to become a spider.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think Indian Spider-Man said he was only Spider-Man for 6 months, and our Miles had been Spider-Man for longer.
So then
I think he's not part of the web. That's my thing with our Miles. He's not part of the web because he's the anomaly,
or he's not part of Miguel's web.
Well,
no,
I mean, I think
like Madam Web's web.
The Madam Web thing, I don't think he's part of it. I don't believe that the third movie, I think he's going to save his father. They're going to switch it up because in the game, Miles' dad is dead. I think in the comic, that's kind of what happens, and it goes to that whole thing. I think in the movie, because he got a spider from a different universe, and he's not going to create so
it's a variant universe from what we're used to.
It's definitely a variant universe from what we're doing. I don't think he's going to create an incursion. I think he's going to save his father. He's going to grow as a hero, because you're seeing Miles' effect on the different spider people and changing their fates. Gwen's dad's alive. Peter B. Parker has a kid. Like he is something else. He is not a negative anomaly. It's like this positive thing that's happening. So I think he's just not part. He's above Madam Web's web, and that's I think what they're going with.
He's above Madam Web.
Do you guys think that we're gonna see Madam Web or like Morlun in the next movie?
I would hope so, but I don't know.
Well, what Sony wants,
because they're still doing the Madam Web movie kind of thing, and I don't know that they would spend the energy to do that movie to just put her into that Spider-Verse movie, which I get would make sense for her to be in that movie. By all means, please put her in that movie.
They did all the connections to. You got the connection to Venomverse. You got the connection there. You've got the little drop, the little tidbit about No Way Home with Doctor Strange and Tom Holland. Like they're connecting all of them.
Prowler.
With Donald Glover's Prowler, like
when Donald Glover show up, I was sitting with my friend who like does not know comics, and I gasped audibly, and he looks over at me and he's like, "What the fuck?"
My friend was like,
"What's Childish Gambino doing here?"
You gotta understand how much of a full circle moment that is.
Yes,
exactly.
To have him be the inspiration for Miles, to then become like this cascading of
voice Miles
become
too old to play Miles.
Becomes his uncle, and then plays his uncle but in a different universe. Like that's just like it's so awesomely dope. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and then you had they did show like again every Spider-Man. I think it was funny too because he even had the classic cartoon when he was swinging at him. He's like swinging and he does this little slow punch. It's like I missed. I was like I was dying.
Dude.
And then when they show Ben Riley again, it was a nod to the '90s on how terrible those comics
Oh, with
were.
the inner monologues and the brooding. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the brooding. Like you
Ben
had
Riley
every
was the big worst when it came to that. He was the complete identity crisis. It was a constant inner monologue.
Mm.
yeah, and it was beautiful, and then the artwork fit the '90s. Everything that was there, you had Toby Spider Man that they showed. You had
Ev- e-
Garfield,
Every
everything,
everything you
Garfield,
could
Venom, anything
reference.
animations,
Spider-Man
game,
from the
all of
Amazing,
it.
games, video
spectacular,
games.
the cartoon
Even the
shows, the
freaking
video game,
Lego movie.
dude. Like,
Did you guys see the Insomniac Spider-Mans
yes,
in the
like
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. That
Insomniac
was
Spider,
awesome.
the Insomniac Spider-Man. We saw the ones from, like, I think 3 or 4 of the like cartoon shows that we've seen.
Was
Like,
the what was Drake Bell's Spider-Man in there? Did
I
we see
think
that?
that was in
the
there
short.
I think
too.
it
That was
was,
the
yeah.
short one, right? That
Yeah,
spoke
The
to
little
him.
one.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't think it was Drake though, because Drake's got legal issues.
oh, he's got
Yeah, that's true.
plenty of them. But like, we had such a like overwhelming amount of like cameos that there's no way someone could sit there and be like, this one, this one, this one, like, unless you had a
No,
predetermined list.
from
Like, there's
what I
no way you
saw,
can see, like, know all of them or
New
catch all of them.
New Rockstars says the number from the production crew is 225.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
and they're a mix of not just specific spider characters but also previous costumes they've used, stuff that
Yeah, so
we
Paper
all are
Bag,
familiar
we
with,
saw
we may have seen on a cover
Oh,
once.
Bagman's great.
Bagman.
Yeah, no, and I mean
You had
according
you had
there's been
Unlimited
225
Spider-Man.
concepts.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
was
got
a
Unlimited
lot.
Superior
Spider-Man.
I
Spider-Man was
was
there.
I was
Mhm.
excited to see Spider Woman in the 90s costume with the black suit, white
Yeah,
spider, brown hair, because
Yeah.
I had that as an action figure, and that's Jessica Drew that I know in the comic books, right? So I'm like, oh my God, Spider Woman! I got excited just
They
seeing
had
her silhouette
so
there, and I was like,
many.
it was exciting, and seeing so many things that I've seen from growing up, and you see when you watch the cartoons, and I literally just watched all the Spider-Man movies over the weekend, played the game again. I spent the last 5 or 6 hours of that night, yes, Sunday night after watching it, playing the game again,
Mhm.
and it's just,
I've
it was
been
just very
re-listening
good.
to the album.
Oh my
so
God, the album! I'm obsessed.
yeah.
I'm
That's
obsessed.
on my running playlist all the time.
Yes,
I'm just like
Spider Verse. They do
Yeah,
both
no,
albums
great
are
good.
really
album.
good. On
Yeah,
Spotify, they have one with both albums together.
I'm playing that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's just so
So
good.
I got a question for you guys. I want to leave with Caleb, Val, Tone, and the law. How did you feel that this movie treated the multiverse versus Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? Caleb,
Mm.
let's start with you.
Mm.
I mean, well, this is a movie that's like all of these universes exist, and we're not going to bother explaining them all to you because it's all stuff that fans are going to know about, but we're not. Whereas like Doctor Strange wasn't with a few exceptions. Like we're like, oh, stuff we've seen in the MCU, and then I guess we had Professor X from the X-Men cartoon played
Mhm.
by Patrick Stewart, but it was mostly like pretty small cameos. Whereas, and it's just a small level of cameos. Like in Doctor Strange, like when Black Bolt showed up, I was pretty excited. That was pretty fun. But like this was like that times 1,000. You know what I mean? Like we had like a few little Easter eggs in Doctor Strange, but also that movie, like we didn't really get to go through cool other universes. It was like we went through a universe where stoplights are green and not red. Like,
Mm.
like okay, great. But this movie, it was like we went through a bunch of different universes, and it's stuff that we like. I don't know. It felt like it was a movie that had a lot more respect for fans. I think in terms of multiverse stuff. That's what I liked. Multiverse of Madness. I thought it should have been
Yeah, it
more
was-
of a. I thought it should have been more of a Sam Raimi movie and less of an MCU movie than it was. But like,
The
I
opposite.
also, but this movie was. I mean, you didn't leave Multiverse of Madness thinking like, holy shit, that movie changed my life. Like you left this movie thinking like, oh my god, like this is like me as a 12-year-old kid with my action figures like bashing them together. Only also, but also if I was 12 and I was crying because I was imagining like deep storylines. Because in this movie I was crying like all the time, and so yeah, like
It was just so good.
yeah,
It
way
was-
better than Multiverse of Madness for sure.
It's so deep. This one I watched it. Me, my wife, and the kids went to go see it, and so me and Antonio are just like in it, just in it. Josie was not about it. Josie was not about it. She had just saw Little Mermaid and she was good to go. She saw Guardians and she was good. That's because she loves Rocket. But she was watching this and she was just not about this because she said she wanted to go. She likes Spider-Gwen, but she was like, Jackie was like, it was too deep for her. Like you and Antonio are just like in it. She's like, I feel like all these feelings are happening. There's like all this deep stuff happening. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm here for my cartoons to give me this.
Right.
Because she's like, it wasn't as funny as the first one.
What? There was so many good points.
No.
But like
If you compare the first one and you compare this one, the first one was like a really good family adventure Spider-Man movie, and then you do the sequel and they took that and they're like, okay, now we're gonna dial it up 11 and deal with conflict and consequences and choice.
This is
and
what
fate.
Love and Thunder should have fucking did.
Maybe right. And so
got it right.
It was so different. It was perfect. It's a fucking masterpiece, and she's gonna watch it once we buy it so she can pay attention to it because she was handling Josie. But me and Antonio were like, this was great. I loved it. I was like, I don't need snacks. I don't need drink. I just need to watch this.
Seabass, can you say what you just said one more time?
What did I say?
What did you just say about Sony?
Oh, Sony got it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get animation right.
Yeah, calm down.
The statement was Sony got it right.
They get animation right.
Don't get too excited.
And they got Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1 and 2 right. So I don't understand. There's no one's fighting here.
Just to get you up to speed.
You guys get on me because I watched the Sonyverse.
It's because Val is a big Morbius fan.
You give the
Sonyverse
a pass. You shouldn't give it a pass.
I like the Sonyverse, and these guys think that I'm crazy for it. That's what the
I
question.
mean, I think that Spider-Man No Way Home was fucking amazing.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
So, and that's a Sony movie. Like, it has Marvel's name on it, but that's a Sony movie. So
yes,
it's got Kevin Feige all over it.
Okay,
come on, Caleb.
Again, he said, what did he just say? Sony got it right.
I'm also a huge defender of Amazing Spider-Man 1. I think that movie is fucking good.
No, that was a great one.
Yep,
that was a great one.
We defend part 1. We defend Toby's 1 and 2. And then
sequels
everything else
fucked
gets
it up.
Like what's his name? Second Spider-Man was just like it was a cash grab.
No,
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
I mean, it was unfortunate. It ends with Sinister Six, and Cliffhanger ends with the Rhino, and then he doesn't do his presentation in South America, and Sony blows a bitch fit. They're like, "Fuck you." Spider-Man 3's canceled. I enjoyed Andrew Garfield. I think Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire had vastly different ways of playing each of their Peter Parkers and Spider-Man, and so never had a problem with them.
Right.
I also like Tom Hardy as Venom. I just thought Venom 2 was trash. But the Venom 2 was hot garbage.
Both Venoms were trash, but it's they do okay.
I will say that my favorite Spider-Man, though, like given all the Spider-Mans, is what's his face, Jake Johnson. I mean, like, I just think he's fucking awesome. I think it would be so cool if he showed up as a live-action Spider-Man. I think he's hilarious, and he's like character has so much depth.
I
fun trash.
Morbius isn't fun trash. It's just trash. It's just trash.
No, but
as we keep going, I want to answer your question. Multiverse of Madness was good, but it just isn't this. Like you can deep dive and get into all the little nitty gritty parts, but literally these are night and day examples of how to handle
But you
a
can do so
alternate
much more
universe,
in
universe
animation.
kind of. Yes,
But we
But-
got all
but
those
I don't-
trips in that one scene.
I'm not even here
I'm
with the
picking
animation.
MLM.
It's the story. Story wise, this was a better story than Multiverse of Madness. Again, I enjoyed Multiverse of Madness. I love this franchise. Like this
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse, like Across the Spider-Verse, like give me all the Spider-Verse. Give me all the Miles. Sign me up. I'm here for it.
I mean, you know what's good about 2 is that it doesn't need to tie itself to anything. It just needs to have continuity with the previous movie, and then you can feed in all the other Spider-Mans into this interconnected web where Multiverse of Madness was like, which I don't think should have been called Multiverse of Madness. It should have been Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange versus
Wanda.
Wanda, right? Like that's what it should have been. Strange versus Maximoff, like something. Give me something. Like, but but they had to tie it, and then you've got this incursion thing that's going to happen with Dormammu's daughter, and like they have to tie it to this grander scheme of things. So I always feel like as MCU has moved on, it's has to tie itself to the story that they're telling, this arc of 3 phases, where this movie was like, as long as we connect to like these little beats in Multiverse 1 and we tell a really great grounded story,
And the
we can
beats in
do everything.
MCU.
Yeah,
And
it touched up
Yeah.
on a lot.
they connect so much. It was just done really well. It was, I mean, definitely.
Show the sacred
Over-
timeline, you know, like they did the whole thing.
Yeah, I
the
got pieces of
the
Loki. I got
pacing of
pieces.
it, the writing of it, the animation was good. Like it had its heartfelt moments. It had its quips. It
I was
had
just gonna
like
say
all, dude, all of the little bits that we want from a Spider-Man movie, and more. And it's just like this movie, like when people were like, "Yo, this movie's gonna be better or is better than the first one," I was like, "Yo, that's a bold ass statement." Calm down, bold ass statement. I love the first movie, but to say that something's gonna be better than it, especially the sequel, I was real hesitant.
This
Then
lives up
I
to
watched it and I was like, "Ooh,
You
shit."
think it's
Bound
better?
to kill it.
What
I don't know that it's better.
is it
I-
better?
Yeah, is it better?
It is a. I wouldn't like better is hard because this movie builds on the previous movie. It's like you said, it's like a real sequel. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't. This movie doesn't stand on its own. It just doesn't. Right.
Right.
It's it like you really need to have seen the first movie. And, okay, so what's the scene at the end of the first movie where
She's hanging over him, calling his name while he's listening to music.
No. The scene where with Peter B. Parker and Miles at the very end, where he catches him by the Miles catches him by the shirt.
Yeah, and he goes,
What does he say to him?
He says,
I can't believe I can't remember this.
Oh, when
'cause
he
it's
when he
like
inspires him to go to MJ.
yeah.
I don't remember what he says, but I know that's essentially what ends up
yeah.
being.
like I don't remember the exact line, but like that scene lives in my head. Like I just like imagine that all the time. And like, but the thing is that like, so like when Peter shows up again, Peter B. Parker shows up, and we learn that he's like he knew about the whole thing and how like the kind of like how they were keeping this big secret from Miles.
But
And
do they know before the events of movie 1 or after the events of movie 1?
I think they know after.
After.
But that's the
Okay.
thing is like, so there's this connection that's established, and if without the first movie, like all the scenes with Peter B. Parker and Miles in the second movie, I was like emotionally like they were like pulling on my heartstrings the entire time.
God, when
But
he
it wouldn't have-
explained to him why he had his daughter. Oh
Right.
my God.
But it wouldn't have meant anything without the first movie, because that first movie, I've probably seen that movie a dozen times, and every time I watch it, in that scene, in the last scene between Peter and Miles, I like cry. I'm like fountain, like just like I'm like nonstop crying every time. I know what's coming, but it's so emotional. And so then to like have that connection, and the fact that they have this deep connection, he's his mentor, and because he was his mentor, he turned his life around and had this kid and everything else, and yet he still kept this secret from Miles, and he like betrayed him in this way. It's like so. I was fucking mad at him. I was in the theater and I was like pissed.
So fucked up. It's like, fuck. How could you?
All I gotta ask is this: how does everybody feel about Spider-Punk?
It's awesome.
Oh, I thought he was awesome though.
I
want to know what's
cool. I wasn't like oh my
Hobie,
god, like you're the
Hobie,
coolest person in the world. I was like,
No.
all right, I get it.
Hobie.
I get it. It's cool.
He felt like Spider-Man out of Train Spotting. It's what it reminded me of. If anybody's ever seen the movie Train Spotting, I was like, oh, this is Spider-Man in Train Spotting. Let's go. I love it. I love Hobie. He was good.
Why? My thing is why was he so against it all and then quits? And what was with the whole?
He's
I
a
don't know. What are
punk.
you mad at?
Yeah, it's pumped. I think that was a. I think
Oh,
that's a because
okay.
they made him this whole like. So if you
That's his
like,
whole vibe.
yeah, that's the whole British like vibe of the age that he was in. And it's just like when you see like movies like Train Spotting and all that, that's the whole vibe. It's like fuck the system, fuck you. I'm done with it. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's pretty much what he was.
I think I will say that I think the new Spider-Man that they introduced did not have as deep a connection with Miles as the characters from the first movie. Like, because you've got the Indian Peter Parker and you've got Hobie, and they were both like really cool characters. But I think that
I think that was
of
done
the
intentionally though,
yeah,
especially with the team up at the end.
right. But the like the characters, because I don't know, I felt like Miguel was the strongest new character, but I felt like Hobie was a very cool character, but he was also sort of like a mentor, but in a different way. And he like they had that moment where he taught him to use the whole palm of his hand and all this other stuff. I didn't buy the connection as much as I had bought the connection with him and Peter B. Parker, or even with Peter Porker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've like Peter Porker had like this crazy emotional, and I was so glad that even though he wasn't in this movie, he had the one line, like that echo line. But
I
anyway.
think with Hobie,
I was surprised that Spider-Man Noir wasn't there, but I was like,
he makes appearance at the end.
I understood why Porker wasn't there because of all John's what he's been going through. But I was just like, when I have Noir, come on.
So
I'm sure he'll be in the
we'll
next
We'll
one.
get him next year.
Yeah, we'll get him.
Nicolas Cage is in his prime right now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
We
mean,
are
they
in the
showed.
renaissance of the cage.
I mean, we got Spider Noir at the end, and I'm gonna give it to you, Val. I think with Hobie, it was more of the connection with Gwen because he knew Gwen more. He was there
True,
because he's
true.
Gwen's friend, and then he's like, that small connection is like, all right, so Peter's gonna raise the system. So I think he was more there for Gwen being her friend. And
Yeah.
as far as Spider-Man India, is because of him saving the
True.
captain. So I think that was like, you know what, he saved the captain from there. I think that's why they would add those two. We definitely did have Spider Noir at the very end because he did come back at the end, but we didn't have Nicolas Cage voicing him. We may get Peter Porker back, but Val, I'm going to tag you now.
No, I was gonna ask a new question as far as how you guys felt about the universe psych out. When did you realize that he wasn't where he was supposed to be?
I didn't realize until it happened because
It was the mama.
The
So-
mama. I was like, it was something going on. I was like, is this the spot doing something to him? Like I thought the
Right.
spot was giving him an illusion or some like he got to her. I didn't.
I
yeah.
thought it was a thing where he got there too late and like something changed. So I'm just thinking like he's where he's supposed to be, but he's not like time wise, like something got wibbly wobbly kind of thing. And I was like, okay. And then like it dawns where it's like, oh
Does
shit.
it dawn
like,
on you when the uncle's walking through, or did it happen before,
Yeah,
after,
hold
or
on.
I
was
think
it
there
kind
was-
of
way
random?
after.
There was a thing with Gwen where Gwen was like at the window, and like at that point I didn't know like exactly what the twist, but I was like, there's something wrong. She's not in the same place. This is like not right. And then they said the thing where the uncle said about the hair, and I was like, oh shit. Like at that when he said the thing about the hair, I was like,
It was just
It picked up for
oh
me
my God.
when he tells her she's Spider-Man. She's like, Spider-Man, like what's that? And
oh yeah,
it gives a hint like she's in denial and like he's bugging, but it was like she really didn't even know what the hell he was talking about.
Mhm.
It says that's when you
Like,
cosplaying or your little friends superheroes.
and-
I was like, oh.
I
and then
love-
Comic-Con. I don't know what that is.
I love the twist though, because like everything else in that movie. Like I said, it's like the multiverse. Like we're not going to explain anything to you because this is all stuff from other things. But
Mhm.
then with this twist, this wasn't from anything. There's no comic where Miles becomes a Prowler, that I know of. Like that was like a real actual like I was not expecting that at all, and it was very cool.
Yeah, but like when he goes, "Oh, I'm not the Prowler," I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it
I
coming.
already,
I saw it
Yeah.
coming.
I saw it. Yeah, when he got knocked out, I'm like, that
Dude.
wasn't a Spider-Man that knocked him out, and I was like,
oh, I knew it was. I knew it was the Prowler that knocked him out. I didn't expect it to be
I-
Miles in that suit, though.
I expected it because it's like his uncle was just standing there, and it's like he's not the Prowler. It's gonna be, and it was like, but the Prowler outfit that he had, I was like, oh shit, his Prowler outfit looks sick. It's like and it's gonna be interesting where they go with that story because now that's a new dynamic you add for this character. Whenever I hear
Spider-Pig,
Peter Porker, my
Spider-Pig.
brain vision Spider Pig from Sponsors. I would die if they allowed them to do that, where you just see Homer just walking around.
It's
with
all under the same
Spider-Pig.
umbrella. They could.
I mean, they could do it. So, but I don't know. I think Spider-Verse really, really treats the multiverse very well. I really feel that we are getting a lot of like fan service in this because again, we see a lot of stuff that we saw growing up from watching all the different Spider-Man cartoons and everything. Even like for those in the early ages when they got to see the old Spider-Man in the 80s. But before we do continue, I just want to say, Caleb, I want to thank you for coming on.
This was
Yes.
awesome.
Dude,
Give
thank
us
you.
Great
a
time.
Caleb. I want to give you a plug before you go. Please plug away
Okay.
your stuff. Go right ahead and give you a solo screen.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you go to unicornvampirehunter.com, you will find all the info about Unicorn Vampire Hunter, which will be on Kickstarter next week. It's about a unicorn who hunts vampires with his horn. Yeah, so check it out. And I'm also going to be involved in a project called Space Monkey Knights Go, which is about monkeys in space who believe they are King Arthur's knights and fight alien wasps. So if any of that sounds cool to you, you can go to unicornvampirehunter.com or calebpalmquist.com, and there will be all the right links for all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for having me on. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for
Quick
coming on,
question,
Caleb.
Yes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are you going to be including that unicorn in your Kickstarter?
Yeah, that little
Oh,
one.
this
that
one?
little-
So let me tell you a story about this because it's actually very tragic.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, damn, Val.
The Kickstarter for the second issue of Unicorn Vampire Hunter, I had a 3D artist make this sculpt, and then I had a friend of mine 3D print them, and he printed all these rewards. People had bought these, and we shipped them across the country, and UPS crushed the boxes, and they still delivered them to my house. And they were all this is one of the only ones that was not completely destroyed, and I had to refund everybody because they all got destroyed. And I was so distraught about it that I just like refunded people, and I sent everybody the STL file. I was like, if you want to print it on your own, like, here's your money back and here's the file. Anyway, they turned out really cool. But if you're ever going to do a miniature or like a sculpt or something for a Kickstarter, hire a professional company to do it. Because as much like the sculpt turned out great and everything, but the post office sucks, and like shipping fragile things sucks. Anyway, I love this little mini, and maybe someday I'll do some more. We had talked about like doing like an RPG with miniatures and stuff like that. I heard you guys were talking about D&D before we started, and I'm with the Unicorn Vampire Hunter artist Daryl Toe. I'm actively developing. It's not Unicorn Vampire Hunter. It's a different IP that we created. We're developing a source book for 5th edition.
If you
That
need
cool.
play
If you need
testers,
play testers,
we
have
do.
a few.
We do.
Let us
They're
know.
jumping.
Yo, like,
That's
any
it.
chance we can get to try new things, let's do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Listen,
Sounds good.
we
I
get-
will definitely hit you guys up for that.
We could definitely get you connected with our DM too, who would definitely be happy to play test anything. Who's been
Yes,
doing the Dungeons
absolutely.
Master and putting together a lot of stuff for Dungeons and Dragons, and would be helpful with giving whatever input you guys need to help him, whatever and all that. So just hit me up.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you,
Caleb,
Caleb.
thank
Appreciate
you
you
for
coming
coming
on,
on.
man. Take it easy.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
have a good night, guys. Thank
You
you.
too.
Like,
Spider-Verse.
Hugo, not ever, ever, ever.
Wait, what did Hugo ask? I don't see.
Val should join as a playtester.
Yeah, she's gonna join as a PlayStation. She just doesn't know it yet. Um,
No.
I would also ask, throughout this movie, there was a lot of memorable, like, standout points. Was there anything from the first movie that didn't get referenced in the second movie, or did get referenced? What was something that was like that tie-in that they did that you were like, yes, I'm glad they did that?
The
Or
bagel
sad,
for Spot.
or sad that they didn't do it.
No, the bagel point with him tying into what his worst villain will be, and he's like, "You're just like the villain of the week," and how they tied it into the first movie being some nobody that no one knows, and you hit me with the bagel, and I'm the one who, when I did the first test, who brought the spider over. You don't see how we like tie in together, and who's gonna know that? Like, I don't understand. So I thought that was a pretty cool way to bring this villain in and tie it to his origin, because Peter Parker's involved in almost every of his villain's origin, right? And
Yeah,
here we get to
something like
see
that. Yeah,
not all, but a big
a
chunk
good
of them.
chunk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good chunk.
and having Miles get his own little um influence on his own origin villain, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
No, I would say it was definitely the bagel thing. I think it was just really a really fun callback to like a nonsense thing that happens, and like this whole idea of like the little things that you don't think about doing and they end up being bigger than what you think they would be, and him just like distracting and just tossing the bagel, making this dude kind of go full blown, "You're my arch enemy." Also, we never got a chance to talk about Spot, and I thought Spot was actually was a better villain if with what they did and how he's becoming this threat and like leveling himself up and becoming more
I think
aggressive and scary.
I think that's what's great about Spider-Man villains, and just to touch up on that, man, because I'm glad you brought that up, Tom, because as far as it goes, I mean, I believe Spot for many years was considered like a joke villain, but then they started fleshing the characters out on how like their power started developing and all that, and you saw that kind of transition with this character on screen, where it's like he's just this big joke who can barely steal the money from an ATM in the beginning, but then he starts understanding his power. And I think that's where he showcased that a lot of these characters whose power sets are considered jokes over the years, and how they've like started to develop them. Because like Spider-Man has a huge gallery of villains that just like Marvel in general and DC have villains that are just super jokes. Like they had a villain who had to sniff cocaine in order to boost up his power. That is a legit villain. You have Stiltman, who is a villain who walks on stilts. It's like, I think this was just an overall of seeing how Spot leveled up. And it just shows that he can go from this joke to, when's determined, become this really huge, powerful threat. And he became a threat. He's become a threat to the multiverse. So that's just my opinion, Swat. And just on these what they call morts of the month. That's what they used to call them back in the Wizard days, like Ruby Tuesday, who cut off her head to replace it with the Ruby Orb, or like what was it, the Wizard, who was a guy who ran fast but he wore a yellow suit and Deadpool made fun of him. So it's just, there's a number of really bad villains.
I genuinely enjoyed that. While we got the Spot as a villain, they made Miguel look like a villain.
Yeah.
Because for all intents and purposes, he is not a villain, because he firmly believes that he is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But what better way to like have a villain be a villain when they truly believe what they're doing is the right thing? Lex Luthor is one of my favorite comic book villains. Thanos. Like, when they firmly believe that what they're doing is right. Killmonger, same thing. I believe what I am doing is right. Are they wrong?
I mean, what I like what they did with Miguel though is that
Killmonger got no moral.
Miguel fucked up a whole universe. Like he lived it. Like it's not like Thanos' whole thing was I'm mathematically thinking this shit isn't gonna work. We're gonna run out of resources, and we should do something about it. It never happened, but he just took the time to do it and prove, oh well, I'm right. And Killmonger kind of different. He's seeing and he wants to do what he has to do. But I think what I loved about Miguel was like, I did this. I did the exact same thing you're doing. I screwed up an entire universe and learned that if we don't stick to where our place is, we're going to destroy our own universes. And it's coming not just from a place of theory, but a place of experience. And like he just can't communicate that very well, unfortunately. But
what if what happened wasn't because of him and something completely different catalyst, and he just thinks it is, and so now he's going on his fool's errand, and it's not something that
it would
there.
be interesting to see if that's the reason why in the next movie, like, and then like it's revealed to him. But I don't. If that were the case, I wouldn't want it revealed till way after, like late, mid third act kind of thing.
I find it hard because we know they're connected to the MCU just from what we've seen. And the MCU has been doing this whole thing. We started in What If, and we started in Multiverse of Madness of like if you fuck with these main points in your universe, you're gonna destroy your universe. And like, so I would find it really weird if they bait and switched us with Miguel's and it ends up being something else, because we've already had 2 instances of someone doing something to change their fate.
But what if that's happened? It just wasn't him.
Do you think that they would make it so that Miles ends up just being a Nexus being? So that's why, even though he's an anomaly, it's not going to fuck up a branch kind of thing.
I think
so. I think so.
Yeah. And also too, it's like, Marvel does that they played with that. They're the Nexus beings. There's these beings who exist outside these I would dare say fixed events, because that's what you learn from when I was watching the Flash series, that there are fixed events that have to happen. That's why I feel that there's more that what Miguel is not revealing. And that he's like, the reason he didn't recruit Miles is because they're going this whole anomaly. And that's why I'm like, well, if a Spider-Man wasn't bitten in a universe that it was supposed to be bitten, wouldn't that universe have collapsed on itself? I just ask these questions because I'm like, I really feel that there's just more that Miguel's not revealing, which that's why I feel like he's more like the He Who Remains version of Kang, but he's for the Spider-Man. And it's like, he didn't start building this whole crew until after the events of what happened in the first Spider-Verse movie. And if you really think about it too, a lot of these Spider-Men were pulled into Spider-Man's universe. Again, I think that there's more to these canon events than what Miguel is leading up to. Maybe he, and it's just hitting me now, maybe he is the one who is responsible for it based off, I learned about another universe where I died, so I went there to go live. Versus, like, I should have stayed in my universe, because he's like, he wanted this whole thing of a family. Like, there's a lot that leads with this version of Miguel that I feel that he's just not, because like, you had that whole monologue with him, like, only I know the truth, when he's like looking at all these screens and everything.
But I think that still like falls into the category of like firmly believing something so much because
it does.
It, and it's not so much that he's hiding anything, so much as that like I need to take onus and I can be the one. I have to be the one who to do it. Well, otherwise, like, if anyone else does it, as he's seeing it happen, they're gonna fuck it up.
Well, it goes back to that Batman line in Nolan's Batman, where you live long enough where you're the hero, you live long enough where you eventually become the villain. And almost, yeah. You know what I mean. It's literally that line. I mean, Thanos believed in something until he, he really became the villain. Killmonger believed in something, and he became the villain. You do see,
Killmonger
Well,
is a villain.
yeah,
Killmonger is a villain. Thanos is a villain. Like
but they,
Thanos was a villain from the jump. He was doing his thing.
no. You know who's
And
a real
then-
villain? High Evolutionary. That's a fucking villain. That's an asshole.
They're all villains.
But it's like even like like remember from What If how T'Challa he became Star-Lord and talked Thanos down from genocide, and it became a running joke. He's like, my plan would have worked. See, that was pretty funny. He becomes a member of his Guardians team. No, it's just very interesting that you get those heroes that toe the line where eventually they do become the villain because of their belief. And I get what you're saying.
I think also in this next movie, because of how they set up this last movie, there's going to be essentially Miles having to fight Miguel / whoever other Spider-Man he gets in his corner.
Hmm.
He has to fight his way out of that Prowler situation, and then also has to fight Spot, which doesn't have to be him solo versus everyone, but
It's him solo versus the Prowler, I'm assuming. Like,
it's
that's
him,
gonna be
like,
that's gonna be his own journey.
yeah.
Right.
And I think that there has to be like one of those like anime like inner like battles of like what I'm doing is right. You know what I mean? Because I think there's gonna be a question of Miles from that universe is so far gone. He doesn't think that what he's doing is wrong because he's doing what he needed to do to survive or just like to provide.
Hmm.
So is he wrong? And he's going to try to prove to our Miles that he's right. And that what Miles is doing is a fool's errand. Because what most villains think that what heroes do is a fool's errand. And I think that's what's going to play in the next movie with at least those two.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. It's gonna. It's definitely gonna. He has several conflicts to piece out, and how they play out is going to be very interesting. So we got a very incomplete movie, which is probably the only reason I wouldn't say better than the first, but it's close to, because it wasn't a complete movie.
I feel like 2 and 3 are gonna be like one movie.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when you,
no,
when
I
you-
get
like
it.
when you flat out say to be continued, right?
Right.
Like I can't like like you look at Infinity War, like I can't say Infinity War as a standalone movie is one of the best Avengers movies.
That's why
It's
I like,
better. It's better than Ultron,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Like
better than
I
Ultron.
personally love Endgame way more than Infinity War. So I think with this, as much as I love this movie,
Mhm.
I'm going to
This-
love the
third
ending
one,
and
yeah.
how they like wrap everything up a lot
Yeah.
more.
I agree.
Not that I don't love this. I think personally it's going to be one of those things where this is going to be a rare instance of Seabass doing Seabass things.
Yep.
Listen, this is gonna be a movie doing all this stuff, man.
I think sorry. This is going to be one of those instances where we get the perfect trinity of like trilogy movie. Like,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be like one surpasses and whatever the case is. No, it progressively gets better or
Right.
serves different purposes. Because I think the first one is going to be the favorite. I'll put it best way I can explain it. BioShock franchise, all 3 games are amazing. The reason why I can say that with like full confidence is because I played all of them last year. The reason why 2 gets a lot of like, it wasn't that good, is because when you look at 1 was such a revolutionary standout game that everyone was like, oh shit, like this is it. That's what Into the Spider-Verse did. It was the
Yeah.
I gotta say,
shit movie.
I love you, Law, and I respect you, but BioShock 3 is the best one.
Right. Well, listen. Let me. I was trying to get there.
I'm just gonna be
motherfucker.
like,
Hold
I'm not
Oh,
I'm not
so
gonna listen.
what he's saying is that 3 is going to be the best
3
one.
is
That
going
2
to
didn't
be-
stand up because
It's
it
fine.
didn't
I know.
blow it
Right.
out the park.
I know,
But
I know.
it's not saying that 2 is bad. Like 2 is not bad, but you look at them in comparison, and you're just like, how do I pick from?
I'm gonna look at this
3
as a
really
whole.
great things and be like, oh, this one was bad because 1 and 3 were amazing. No, this one was still amazing. It just wasn't whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna look at it as like I'm gonna look at it at least for 2 and 3 because you do this whole to be continued. Like literally, this probably movie is gonna literally pick up at the punching bag because they're doing a really good job, right? So I'm gonna look at 2 and 3 as I look at Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Like I look at Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 as one fucking movie. The only thing that changes is the genre. That's it. You go from Japanese to spaghetti Western. That's the only thing that changes. But it's one movie. So it's like you got the first Into the Spider-Verse movie, which is a standalone movie, tells your story. Don't need a sequel. We want a sequel. And then you've got 2 and 3, which are telling this complete story for Miles, his growth, and him becoming Spider-Man. Now, however, I do feel like we're going to have the conversation of which is the better Spider-Man trilogy. And I feel like this is going to just kick Miles is going to kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I will say Miles
and then Tom.
Like,
Yeah.
They're like this right now.
And then Andrew.
Whoa.
And then Toby.
Seabass, I love
It
you.
really,
But it's
really,
not there like this right now.
It's Miles.
It is Miles.
You know what
Tom
it is?
Tom is in the running.
For me, anyway, because especially over the weekend, I watched just about every Spider-Man related movie. Well, the Toby's.
They're all on Disney Plus now.
No. Well, it was on
TNT.
TNT.
Most of them.
And then went into Homecoming, Spider-Verse, and you know I watched the rest on Disney Plus. But I realized Toby's weren't horrible. Part 3 was an exception, right? It was just not done well. Toby's Peter Parker, the deer in headlights look, I don't know. It just, now that I've seen so many different iterations, didn't give me what I need again. And then Andrew was great as Spider-Man, and the smart ass remarks and the like. I love Andrew. Tom does very well with a bit of both. For me now, with this Spider-Verse and this Miles, the storyline, how they interconnect everything and make it work for this universe where we get to see a lot of the characters that we loved in the books and in the games and everything else. I just think that they hold more, even though differences of the comic books, but they hold more to the comic character itself than any iteration we've seen of Spider-Man in live action.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I love you, Seabass, but you saying they're like this?
I mean, right now for me, they're like
not
this.
in this house.
Not in this house.
I think he's saying that because Tom Holland's had his 3 movies, and No Way Home was fantastic.
No Way Home was fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not taking it away from that. However, I think what messes up for me anyway in this MCU's Spider-Man, a lot of it takes away from what makes Peter Parker when they tied in Iron Man with it.
Well, the thing is that Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
that was his Uncle Ben, though.
Yeah, but Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
My man had 2 Uncle Ben moments.
Yeah. We already had. We needed something different.
Tom Holland had back-to-back 2 Uncle Ben moments.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, now it's Captain. Now it's the Captain, right?
But,
Oh
fuck. No, for me, Tom Holland's Spider-Man did something that we got to love in the comics was when Spider-Man had his team-ups. You got to see that with Tom Holland Spider-Mans that you didn't have in Garfield's or Tobey's, because at the time they weren't intermingling properties. With Tom Holland's, they did something different when you got to see him actually mix it with the other comic heroes, which you got to see in Spider-Man in the comics when he mixed it up with the other heroes, especially when he became an Avenger. That's what you kind of got with Holland.
He was in the Avengers. He was in the Fantastic Four. Spider-Man is one of the most popular Marvel characters, just like Wolverine, and they intertwined them all.
And it sucks for Garfield because Tone said because he didn't do that thing in Africa, but also too because at the time when they were trying to push Garfield's Spider-Man, they were mostly trying to push the Sinister Six in the second movie, which he took like second fiddle in that movie. And then they started to do all this stuff like, oh, we're gonna have a spinoff. Like there was reports like we're gonna have an Aunt May spinoff where she was a spy in another life. Oh, we're going to have this spinoff. We're gonna have the Felicia Hardy like.
Don't believe everything you read.
No, that was all confirmed stuff that never. They was supposed to be launched off the
Confirmed
Garfield.
where? Confirmed where? If
suppo-
it never came out.
No, they had a
It
lot
was-
of they had a
yeah.
lot of plans for Garfield. Like I don't know about
Reality.
there-
I don't
there's
know
a
about
such-
a lot of that, but the Sinister Six one was
Oh, I remember that one.
legit.
Yeah.
That was the legit
That-
one that we
I
knew was
know.
going to happen. Because even in
And-
Spider-Man 2, they did the walk through the hall in Oscorp
Mm-hmm.
of all the.
And we see the Easter eggs
Vultures
there.
and,
You know,
yeah,
we saw
the
Venom.
odds.
Yeah.
And there was that Sony leak that they were like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
all the stuff that they wanted to do. Like there was a lot of rumor. There was a lot, not rumors. There was a lot of stuff that Sony wanted to do, and
Well, we're
the
getting
leak-
Craven next, no?
yeah, Craven's next.
Look at your face. Look at your faces. Oh my god.
Craven and Triantula, who's going to be played by Bad Bunny, who is also a wrestler now.
I just can't.
Fucking
just-
shoot me.
I just
I'm
can't.
watching
No,
it.
it's not
We
Tarantula.
are
No,
watching
no.
it.
No,
it's
we're
not
not.
Tarantula.
Yes.
Actually, hold on.
yes.
Bad Bunny is not playing Tarantula. He's playing a wrestling.
He's playing a
superhero that was in
wrestler who
Marvel.
had 2 issues.
Yeah.
He was in 2 issues, and people had the balls to be like, "We got our first Hispanic superhero movie." Fuck you. No. All right, fuck you. All right, we can either give that to Miles, or we can give that to Blue Beetle. We ain't giving it
Listen.
to Bad Bunny.
Miles,
That's it.
Miles walked so Bad Bunny could stumble. Like, come on,
Right.
like,
So
who is this we?
What is this,
um
Pong
I
saying
would've
he's
give
in for it to
I
watch this
would've-
garbage Sony Marvel
I,
movie?
I would have
course he
given
is.
thank
that.
you,
Of course
Pong.
he is.
Thank you, Pong. We're
I
watching it.
seriously- I seriously would have given Bad Bunny a different character. Someone who's only been in 2 issues, who's like a nobody. I would
He
have given him
doesn't need
someone
to
else.
be in the movies. Just let him continue singing.
Like
And do it right on.
I liked him
He's-
in
he's a
And
wrestler
dying
now.
in Bullet Train.
in
He is a
Bullet
He didn't
wrestler
even
Train.
get a
now.
lot of lines in Bullet Train.
Right, exactly.
He's a wrestler doing the Canadian Destroyer now, jumping off the top ropes too. So he did the.
Oh,
all right.
absolutely, absolutely. Her Aunt May is like one of my favorite Aunt Mays.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it just
bro.
sucks that
I hate you, bro.
I hate it. I hate it too. I hate it so much. But that shit was funny as hell.
I hate
This
it. It's
is-
annoying,
I'm watching
man.
it.
Fucking
I don't know
Pietro
if
is Craven the
he
Hunter.
was-
You kidding me right now?
That was hardly Pietro. Okay.
Listen,
He was still
I'm
Pietro.
more excited about Craven coming
Fox's
into the
Pietro
was-
new
he was-
Spider-Man game.
Yes.
That shit looks fucking
It looks
awesome.
so good.
Oh, the new Spider-Man game,
So
even with
good,
the
yes.
symbiote suit. Yeah.
With the
Like I
Craven is
say,
it
as a
comes-
group, we play it and we review that and we go like break. Like I
I'm
would do
with
that.
I'm with
I have
it.
to
I
play
would do that.
Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, but I was debating my plan getting in because I heard they're very good.
They are very good.
Tone,
Spider-Man
Tone,
should have.
I would
Miles should have
replay
been a
both
DLC.
of those games
It's short
with
as hell.
you just so you can play it.
Yes, no,
That's
for
how
real, for
good it
real,
is.
It's
It's
so,
so
it's
good.
so good. I rarely finish games because I don't have time. I made the time to finish both games. I'm literally just playing to go back
Yeah.
to. I want 100% it out and do all the missions.
I
Yeah.
did part 1. I did like the regular Pete story during the pandemic. Finished it all. Loved it. Did all of the the DLCs.
Did Hammerhead,
did the whole thing.
Catwoman, Silver Sable is the only one I'm not done
Who
with
is
yet.
Catwoman?
I mean, Black Cat. Sorry,
Fam.
sorry, my bad.
Disrespectful.
I know,
Oh,
my
wrong
bad.
universe.
But then I did Miles.
Miles is
for-
shorter, right?
Miles is short,
It's
but
super
I
short. It should have been a
I did
DLC,
it.
but
I did it. I did it for Twitch, and it was such a good story.
It's so good, so good.
My god! Like it's short. It's longer than a DLC would be, but shorter than a game is.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's fine because I put in time with God of War, and oh my god, it was so good.
I will say for me anyway, I had started Spider-Man, never finished it, and went played Miles and finished that, and I was like, oh, now I have to go back and finish Spider-Man, and it was just so epic. It was just really good.
You did what?
Yeah, I know.
Bro.
So good.
How
No, I know. I need to get back. I got the PS5. I need to get the Spider-Man games.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, they play like Arkham, right? Essentially.
Yeah,
More or less, yes.
they play like Arkham, and it's a lot of fun,
Like-
like leveling and doing all the little like things.
All the little stuff like
And all the suits, right?
exactly.
Like, you have like every
Yep.
fucking Spider-Man suit, right?
Yep.
Bro, I be out there just looking at my drip, going, yes.
Then I like having to, because there's sections where, like in Arkham, where you have to do the sound waves, right?
Yeah.
There's sections like that with the police studios, and then you have to find your backpacks and
Yeah.
things. There's a lot of little things on the side that's very similar to the Arkham as well. So
Like they
it
have the
was
whole, like, you can go to
landscape pictures and stuff like that too of the city.
like, you could go to the dude's hideouts and you can do like all stealth, or you could do like I want to run these hands. I do stealth until they caught me.
No more. Yeah,
I'll be like,
I do the
I'll be like,
same.
I'll be like, oh, well, guessing I gotta die now.
No, like doing those combos in Arkham were great, man. Just
Bro.
watching Bruce Wayne just kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
was
But I will
amazing.
say, like, as I would say, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, that level of gadgets and like the way you can get so
It's more
like so many variations. It's that for Spider-Man. Spider-Man has so many variations of how you can play and take down enemies and fight and like build your suits out and build your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Endless fun.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. I just bought Street Fighter, so I gotta chill.
Oh, have fun with that. I've heard nothing but good things.
I heard
with that.
really good things.
I played the demo for like 2.5 seconds. Is it worth the buy?
I mean, I got it because a lot of my boys play Street Fighter and like it's the new Street Fighter, so I need to have it. And and it's it's Xbox and it's crossplay and it's Street Fighter. So I'm not deep in the fighting games community or scene, but like everyone who is who is a fighting game head has been like Street Fighter 6 is.
Yeah, you get to make your own Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, you get
character.
to make your own thing for World Tour and stuff, but like
and you get to fight people on the street.
Yes, in World Tour. Yes.
Like I saw someone walk up to a mime, smack him, and I was like, "Fight!" I was like, "Holy
yes,
shit."
you can just fight whoever you want. Yeah, no. But I just picked it up, and then I was debating about getting Diablo, but I was like, I can't do another open world live game. I can't. I'm not gonna keep up with it, so it's not even worth me getting it.
The next time I do an open world like big game is
Tears of the Kingdom
eventually when I do PS5 and get the new Horizon DLC that I've heard nothing but good things about.
I know. I need to play that too. I need to play 1 and 2 of that.
Me too.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Val was gonna play this awesome game called Dungeons and Dragons.
No link to Tears of the Kingdom. I've started it.
It's like I don't know, man. It's just it's
Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom, right?
It's just so many games out there right
now.
now.
The whole Zelda thing, though, and maybe it's just like my old Zelda head coming up, but it was just like it's open world, and now you can craft. I'm like, oh my god. I mean,
the crafting is a lot.
I don't know if I need.
Have you seen the videos? Have you seen the videos of people breaking the fuck out of the game?
No. I have seen the videos of people breaking the game and like they're doing it and like look, whatever. It's just it's not for me. Like I love Ocarina. I love like my linear Zelda.
I will never like get a Switch until like I really felt like I needed it.
Like Ocarina of Time, perfection.
Wait, what are they breaking?
Yeah, Ocarina of Time is amazing. It's one of the best. I would say Breath of the Wild comes in very close second there. Tears of the Kingdom, though, is a little bit more complicated for my game style taste, especially with what I'm used to with Zelda. But I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what you're saying, but it doesn't hinder the experience. I'm telling you, it's good.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because I played, I was just like, it was so weird. This whole open world aspect for Zelda. Like I was just a really weird when I started playing Tears of the Wild, and I know it's good. It's just one of those things where like I don't have the time. I'm not gonna play it. It is what it is. I am excited for though is the Final Fantasy VII version of Metal Gear Solid 3. I can't wait for that shit.
Yes,
I love Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid I haven't played in years though. But
they're remaking Snake Eater. Perfection.
Really?
They're like full on remaking Snake Eater, like doing a full like Final Fantasy VII remake version of it, and then they are releasing Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, and Metal Gear 3 as HD remakes that came out for like the PS3. They're releasing those as well. But
I'll go back
yeah.
and do those because I haven't done those in like ages.
Yeah, man.
I don't think I've ever finished.
Which one?
I played. I remember playing one with my brother like a little bit. I know he finished it. I played a little bit of 3. Again, a lot of like the Metal Gears I didn't get to play my own because I didn't have my console at the time. Like it was like my brother's console or whoever's console. I did finish the PSP games, which no one loves except for me for whatever reason. Metal Gear Acid.
Yeah,
Metal Gear Acid was so much fun.
That's the card one?
Yeah.
That shit was stupid.
I don't know why. I think it's because I think it's because like I love a good like
I know you like the card. I know you like card deck building games though.
I love a good card deck builder, and it was really good for that aspect. So I was here for that.
No,
We're totally getting off topic, but it's okay.
I figured we're getting off soon.
Yeah.
We're getting.
What do we got next week?
I would have to check.
Let me check the calendar.
I got you.
Final thoughts for
Transformers?
is
it Transformers?
Is it Transformers?
Yes,
that comes out this week.
This weekend.
Oh
Holy
shit!
shit.
Okay.
Holy shit! It does.
Another movie weekend, guys.
Oh, actually, you know what? I actually do need to tell you. I have like a major work event on Tuesday, so I will not be on.
Oh no!
Major work event, like my black tie event, is on Tuesday.
Oh, the one that you've been doing all the thing for.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So I will not be on. So someone can come on and co-sign for me if you guys want to. If you guys are still going to do Transformers, cool.
I wonder. Do you want us to hold on? Because I know you were really looking forward to it. I feel like
I'm looking forward to it until I'm looking forward to it because Bear wants to see it. I haven't seen the reviews, and once I knew that they were bringing Unicron into it, I was like, how are they gonna fuck this up? And then the fact that I was like, how are they gonna fuck this up?
First of all, RC looks amazing in it. I'm just excited to see RC the way she's supposed to look on screen.
Pete Davidson's a Transformer, okay?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yes, he's Mirage.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's all these promos on my social media of him recording his lines for Mirage.
Mm-hmm.
He is Mirage.
Send that to me. I didn't even know that. That's why I stay away from all the videos
before we
beforehand.
sign off. Final thoughts
sorry.
on Across the Spider-Verse, and any more theories or whatever you want to throw out there for the movie, and then we'll wrap up.
I thought it was a excellent sequel to an already excellent movie and worth the 5 years. Jesus. 5 years before the pandemic.
Yeah.
That we waited from it. And I didn't think they were gonna do Spot well because he was a joke character. I was confused in the trailers of why all these Spider-Men are chasing Miles. And now I'm here, and I cannot wait for March next year.
Yeah,
I second that. I think this was an awesome sequel. I love it just as much as the first. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. The next one should be freaking amazing. It should be freaking amazing. Yeah.
Yes, Pong. It has been 5 years since the first Spider-Verse came out.
I'll get you. I'm trying to find the official release date.
Pandemic affected a lot.
Seabass, how do
May.
you feel?
2018.
August
2018.
August 2018.
2018. Not 2017. 2018.
So, what I feel about this movie, there was a lot of great stuff in this movie. First of all, capturing the culture of Miles Morales, where it's like, again, it hit home with the whole Bendición y otra Bendiga, the relationship between his mother and father, the whole mixed family household. I love that this was a love letter for everything Spider-Man, just by all the cameos and Easter eggs that we got to see in the movie. Which is like, if you knew, you knew, and it just makes you even curious to go, okay, I want to find out about this character. It definitely showcased why Spider-Gwen stood out with all those Gwen Stacy concepts they came out with when they had the whole month of Gwen, and why she is here to stay, because she's just an awesome, phenomenal character that she sticks out on her own. And then Miles himself, like we've seen the journey of Peter Parker. We've seen the growth from great power, great responsibility, and seeing Miles go through that journey in his own way and all that. To me, I feel like we've had that history with so many years with Peter Parker that now we're seeing this with Miles. It's like that for a new generation to get into the Spider lore. I feel like Miles is the character that helps bridge the gap for newer fans into the Spider-Man universe who haven't grown up with Peter, and is also helping bridge the gap for older fans who got to grow up with Peter when you see that mentor. So I think Spider-Verse does a lot, and I think that it's going to set up a great sequel that we're going to get with this trilogy, and I think it's going to be a very strong trilogy for Spider-Man.
Co-sign all of what you guys have said so far. This is definitely a franchise. This franchise introduced me to Miles in a way that, like, people kept telling me, "Yo, Law, he is Black and Puerto Rican like you. You're gonna love this kid. Like, there's side there, personality, all that." And I was just like, "Guys, come on!" And then I watched the movie, the first one, and I was like, "Oh, I get it. I understand why people kept telling me you're Miles." And the writing, the growth of this kid, like, it's everything they've done with him. It's so, like, I feel so much of myself in Miles, and it's why, like, I love him and adore him so much, because, like, there's such a connection there. But, like, I am really looking forward to seeing how they close out this trilogy. This is easily one of my favorite sequels that I've ever seen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the next one. March can't come fast enough.
Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they get a live version of him to jump into the whole multiverse with MCU, to have him with Tom Holland. That would be something interesting.
It'll be down the line, but now it can happen sooner than later, because you have him in college, and there's going to be some time out. So, like, I would say, if Tom does another 2 or 3, by the end of 2 or the end of 3, then you can start introducing Miles.
Yeah.
Because even in the game, I want to say, like, they're about 8 years apart or something like that. Because Pete's already, like, just leaving college, like, or whatever the case is. And Miles is just entering high school, like, in early, like, freshman, sophomore year. So,
yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Before we go,
Miles is a live action person or an animation. I would love to see him live action.
Live action. Yeah. I think the fan casting is the actor also named Miles from Blackish. I don't know if you guys have seen him.
Yeah, the one that plays.
He's the youngest son.
The one, not the one that plays Junior. I know you're talking about.
That's not Junior.
Yes.
It's not Junior.
It's one of the ones who
Junior.
plays the twins.
It's one of the one who plays the twins.
Miles Brown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He's
I can see
18
that
now.
Yep.
I can see that.
I can see that.
Yep.
I definitely could see it. Yep.
That's been the fan casting. And another one I saw people saying is that some people were saying that Millie Alcock could play Gwen. House of Dragon.
I can see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but that
you can't have Haley do it because Haley's already.
No, but I'm saying. So the only trouble with having them is they look great now. They're perfect casting now, but like with my pick Dylan O'Brien so he could be fucking Nightwing, he's gonna grow out of it eventually. So hopefully
Tom Holland is 27, and he's still in high school.
Fair.
Okay.
Point made.
we still got some time.
Another fan casting was from what was it, Wednesday, the one that played the wolf for Gwen.
Oh, yeah. Emma something or other.
Yeah.
I think.
Before we go, we have Rotten Tomato scores that dropped.
Ooh, for this movie?
No, not for this movie. This movie was amazing. No, for movies that we're not going to see, and a movie we are going to see. Okay. For The Flash, with 71 reviews, we are at 72%.
Wow.
I know.
That's on what the critic side.
Critic. We haven't gotten audience because audience hasn't seen it yet. However, usually it can either go really high because the audience loves it, which is what The Rock counts when he looks at his movies, or it'll go down. But like 72 and 71 isn't bad, especially when like no one's blowing it up and saying it's the best thing. However, this Transformers movie
Not looking too good.
with 48 reviews, 56%.
Oh,
We might have to switch it up.
I have to hoodbox it.
Granted,
Flash comes out the
Fast
following.
X.
I'm not
Also-
hoodboxing it.
Not Fox.
Fast X also got 56%, but
what's the audience score?
85.
Yeah.
What's the Van Diesel score? Jason Momoa is still in my parts.
Yo, I'm sorry, but now The Rock is coming back. The Rock is coming back in Fast and the Furious 10-2. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
10-2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember,
10 is
remember
going to
part
be three
10
part.
is a trilogy.
They're setting up. He's supposed to be doing like
He's doing a Hobbs and Shaw
2,
sequel,
and then it'll set into the other one.
10-2.
Oh god.
Also, finally saw John Wick 4. Oh, fucking
So
amazing.
good, right?
We could just talk John
So
Wick 4.
good.
Please and
Wait,
thank
are you guys? So you're totally going away from Transformers? Is that what we're talking about right now?
No. I'm still gonna see Transformers. I'm just literally just showing the Rotten Tomato score because I knew Transformers Rotten Tomato score was gonna be basura. Like I wasn't expecting critics to like
Yeah.
the Transformers movies.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Let's just hold on, and then we can go after this. We can go after this. I just want to see what we get for Transformers. Okay, let's see. Oh, they're so bad.
Wait.
Transformers: The Last Night, 16%.
Oh yeah.
Transformers: Age of Extinction, 18%.
Given.
Transformers: Dark of the Moon, 35%.
Given.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, 20%. Now, here we go. Listen. Now, the original Transformers movie from 2007 with Shia LaBeouf, which I found good for being a live-action Transformers movie and entertaining, was 57%. So if Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is 56%,
That's
I
a good
may
thing.
enjoy this movie.
That's a good thing.
I'm
That's
gonna,
a win. That's a win.
That's the logic.
Just curious. Well, how did Bumblebee rate?
Let me. I may have
Because
to,
Bumblebee was great.
I have to.
Bumblebee was good.
I gotta put it in. They don't have the 86 movie because Rotten Tomatoes wasn't around, but that would be 100, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh, the animated movie.
The animated movie from 1986, the greatest animated
That would
movie
be
of all time.
100. No, all time. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I will
Uh,
die
You
on
got
that
the
hill.
touch.
I will
Okay.
die on
You
that
got
hill.
the
That movie.
power.
That movie is amazing.
That hour and a half toy commercial with that soundtrack is incredible.
It's an 80s classic. I get it.
Bumblebee. Let's see. 91.
Okay. That I'm okay with that.
What's
you know
interesting is
That
that
makes sense.
Bumblebee has a
That tracks.
91%, which was fantastic. 91% critic, certified fresh. 74% audience.
What? Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Probably didn't like a girl leading their movie.
Wait, hold
you know?
on. So
Yeah.
what was so low? We gave it was all the Transformers except for the first one. It was mid,
It was mid.
and this one. Is it just the critics?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
right now.
the all the other Transformers movies, I believe they just show critics. They just show critics because Transformers 2007, the first Shia LaBeouf movie, 57% critics, 85% audience.
The bar is low.
The bar is low.
Absolutely.
But I'm still with it.
I'm
still
still
with
with
it.
it.
I know what I'm gonna get
Yes,
from a
I
Transformers
know.
movie.
It's such a fun fact that the legendary actor/director Orson Welles, his last movie before this man died, is Transformers as Unicron. Like, it's such a fun fact. And I feel like some hibbity-bibbity film critic be like, oh, Orson Welles. Be like, I know Orson Welles. No, you don't. Name a movie. That's not Citizen Kane. I got you, motherfucker. I got you.
I don't know any movies that he's in.
Citizen Kane is like the movie that he.
Oh, I
he was
see.
like,
I
he
see.
was a whole voice and everything. It was definitely his voice. Citizen Kane, yeah, and then you go with Transformers the movie, but no, next week's Transformers might just drag Pong in. Pong goes to see it.
Pong, you're
And
gonna
then we're
go
gonna-
see
You can
Transformers,
see Transformers?
right?
You're here with us now. You might as well answer.
That's how we get him.
The Beast Wars Transformers movie. Come on, you had a break for like 2 weeks, man. Come on.
Right.
He's like, fuck.
Every time they keep pulling me back in.
Then oh man, then
He's not answering now.
No, he's not.
here we
He
go.
just jumped off.
All right. Well, I don't think we're gonna do it. We're not gonna do it this Tuesday because I'm not gonna be on. Catch the movie in Phoenix. There you go, Hugo. That's the way to go.
Right. Solutions, not problems.
Yeah.
So what are we doing next week?
I think we can figure it out offline if
We-
you guys
yeah,
don't
we
want to
can
do.
we can
If you
figure
guys
it out.
don't. If you guys don't want to do Transformers, and I'll be back the week
Who
after.
said we don't want to do Transformers?
That week. That
Right.
week.
That week.
So you want us?
Yeah,
to
y'all
wait.
can do Bad Batch.
I think I'm the only one who wants to talk about Bad Batch. You guys suck.
Okay,
I
I'll
saw the whole first
No.
season.
You're my own. You're
look,
the only
look,
one
look,
who watches
look, I'm
Star
gonna
Wars
be-
with me.
I'm gonna be 100% with you.
We
I
forced
just,
the other ones.
I just don't care for the animations. I don't know
What?
what it is. I know they're
Okay.
good.
Whatever.
I was like, yo, I watched it.
I know you.
We also
watched.
didn't
I'm
talk
just
about
saying.
Tales of the Jedi, which was amazing.
That I didn't
What was
watch.
that again?
It's literally 6 episodes, 15 minutes each.
Oh yes,
3
yes.
about
no, it was
Count
very
Dooku,
good.
3 about Ahsoka, and the Count
Yes.
Dooku ones are amazing.
So epic.
oh
right.
man.
You guys are not saying.
What do you with
anything.
me,
Okay.
Pong, on the Star?
hold on.
Which one? Oh, the 20th. I think that's.
We could figure it
Yes.
out.
Yes, the 20th would be the Tuesday. I'm back.
So we'll figure it out on the back end, guys. But again, this has been another fun venture of Puerto Rican goodbyes over here at the Nerds Around. This has been your boy Sebastian.
Hey, boy, law.
Your boy Tone from across the hall.
And
And
of course, last but not least, Vmac. See you
Listen.
next week, guys.
Listen, we had to do a Puerto Rican goodbye on the Spider-Verse episode. So we'll see you guys next week. La bendición, yo te bendiga. Drink your Malta. Happy Puerto Rican
Your
Day
Spanish
parade.
accent is
oh
amazing.
my god.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Just talk regular, man.
Yeah, please.
3,
Oh my
2.
god.
Hate them. It just, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea for some reason. I try to watch these shows, and it's just like I'm like meh about it. I don't know.
What's wrong with you?